The blue sun of Veldria cast long shadows across the rocky landscape as Kira moved through the settlement with hurried steps, her forearms wrapped protectively around herself. Her upper eyes scanned the horizon while her lower pair searched the ground frantically. 10 cycles had passed since her hatchling disappeared. Kira had searched every corner of the settlement, checked every cave and crevice, but found no sign of her precious Mila. The young Veldrian was only in her second phase of growth, barely able to communicate through color patterns on her skin. Among the Veldrian people, losing a child was the greatest tragedy. Their species produced few offspring, and each was treasured beyond measure. As colony leader, Kira felt the loss even more deeply. How could she protect her people if she could not protect her own child? The settlement had grown tense as the days passed. No Veldrian had ever lost a child within the protected zones. The whispers among the elders suggested that perhaps Kira was not fit to lead if she could not maintain the safety protocols, but none dared say this to her face. Kira approached the edge of the settlement where the protective barrier separated the Veldrian colony from the wilds of the planet. They had established this outpost only 15 cycles ago after first contact with humans. The Earth delegation had helped them set up the barrier technology, but relations had grown strained in recent months. A movement caught her attention. A small, human transport vessel approached from the eastern ridge. Kira watched with caution. Her people had limited contact with humans since the diplomatic incident, where a Veldrian elder had accidentally poisoned a human delegate with their natural secretions. Vessel landed with a soft hum, and Kira straightened her posture, activating her translator patch. A human female emerged from the craft. Kira recognized the uniform of the Earth Science Division. The human was small, with pale skin and short brown hair cut close to her head. Kira signaled to the guards to stand down but remain alert. The human approached slowly, hands visible in what Kira had learned was a universal sign of peace. "My name is Lisa Morgan, Earth Science Division," the human said. Her voice was soft, but Kira could sense an underlying excitement. "I believe I have found something that belongs to your settlement." Kira felt all four of her hearts quicken their pace but maintained the formal posture required of a leader. "We have lost nothing that would be of interest to humans," she replied. The human Lisa smiled. "I think you might be wrong about that." She turned toward the vessel and made a gentle beckoning motion. From behind the craft emerged a small figure with iridescent blue skin. Its lower eyes were closed in the Veldrian expression of contentment while the upper eyes remained alert. The child's skin pulsed with patterns of blue and green expressing happiness and excitement. Mila Kira gasped, her formal demeanor forgotten. In an instant her skin flashed vivid patterns of shock and joy visible even through her ceremonial robes. The child saw her and let out a high-pitched trill that made the human Lisa wince slightly. Despite her smile, Mila bounded forward on all six, limbs moving with the awkward gait of a Veldrian child. Kira dropped to the ground, gathering her child in all four arms. Her skin radiated patterns of relief and love so intense that the watching guards turned away as if witnessing something too intimate. How did you find her?" Kira finally managed to ask, looking up at the human who stood watching with an expression Kira could not quite interpret. 3 days ago, I was studying the crystal formations in the eastern caverns," Lisa explained. "She was hiding in a small pocket cave nearly 5 miles from here. She's quite the explorer." She smiled. Those caverns would be dangerous even for an adult human, but she seemed quite at home there. I recognized her as Veldrian immediately, and knew she must have come from your settlement. Kira held Mila tighter. The eastern caverns lay far beyond the barrier. They were filled with predators and toxic gases. How did she get past the barrier? Lisa shifted her weight. It appears she discovered a flaw in your perimeter system. She pointed to a small device attached to her belt. Your barrier has a cycling frequency. I believe your little one figured out how to time her movements to slip through during the millisecond gaps. Kira stared in shock at her child, who was now happily displaying color patterns that told of her adventures. The stories of crystal lights and hidden passages flowed across the child's skin in vibrant colors. "You tracked her through the caverns for 3 days?" Kira asked. "Why not contact us immediately?" Lisa looked uncomfortable. I tried. Your communication systems rejected my signals. She paused. It took time to gain her trust. She was afraid at first, but seemed to understand I wanted to help. When I finally earned her confidence, she allowed me to bring her home. Kira rose slowly, still holding Mila close. The significance of what had happened began to sink in. The human had spent days tracking a child not her own, through dangerous terrain. She had somehow communicated with a being whose language was based on skin pigmentation patterns, and she had brought the child home safely, asking nothing in return. In Veldrian culture, there was no greater act than saving a child. They had a word for it. Zakirath, Life-Giver, one who gives back what cannot be replaced. Lisa seemed unaware of the profound change that was occurring around her as the guards and nearby settlers all lowered themselves in the formal posture of deepest respect. Their skin patterns shifted to displays of gratitude visible even from a distance. "You have saved my child, Kira," said her voice thick with emotion. "In doing so, you have saved my position, my honor, and perhaps the future of our relations with humans. Do you understand what this means?" Lisa shook her head. "I just did what anyone would do." Kira made a sound that the translator could not properly convert. It was the Veldrian equivalent of astonishment. "No, human Lisa Morgan, you did what no one else could do. You tracked a Veldrian child through terrain deadly to your kind. You communicated without words, and you returned her expecting nothing." Kira stepped forward. "This creates a bond our people cannot ignore. By our oldest laws, you are now Zakirath to Mila and family to me." The other Veldrians began to emit a harmonic hum that made the ground vibrate slightly. Lisa looked around nervously. "Is that good?" she asked. Kira released one arm from holding Mila and extended it toward Lisa. "It means that what was broken between our peoples can now be healed through you. We have misjudged humans, focusing on our differences. When one human shows such compassion, it makes us question our understanding." Lisa hesitantly took the offered arm in what humans called a handshake, but which Veldrians considered a bond of trust. "I just wanted to help a lost child find her way home," she said, "and in doing so, you have shown us a path forward as well." Kira replied. The Council of Elders requested an immediate meeting upon learning of Mila's return and the circumstances of her rescue. Kira had no choice but to bring Lisa before them. It was uncommon for outsiders to enter the sacred chambers, but this was an unprecedented situation. The council chamber was carved from the native crystal of the planet. The 5 eldest Veldrians sat in a semicircle, their skin patterns subdued in the formal setting of governance. Lisa stood beside Kira, trying not to fidget under the intense gaze of 10 Veldrian eyes per council member. Zakirath, the first elder, addressed Lisa directly, using the Veldrian word that needed no translation. "You have done what no outsider has ever done. You have become family to our leader." Lisa glanced at Kira, uncertain how to respond. "Tell them how you found Mila." Kira encouraged her. "Tell them everything." Lisa described her research mission in the Crystal Caves, her discovery of the small Veldrian child, and the 3 days they spent together as she gained the child's trust. She explained how she had tried to communicate with the settlement but received no response. She told them of the games she played with Mila to earn her confidence and how the child had eventually led her to understand the flaw in the barrier system. The elders listened, their skin patterns shifting from skepticism to wonder as the story unfolded. "You risked your life for a child not your own." The second elder stated, "This is not the behavior we expected from humans." Lisa frowned slightly. "We value children too, even those who are different from us." The third elder leaned forward, his skin displaying patterns of curiosity. "What do you seek in return for this service? Human, many of our crystals have properties your people desire." "Nothing," Lisa said firmly. "This wasn't a transaction, I just helped a lost child." The chamber fell silent. The council members communicated among themselves in rapid skin patterns too complex for the translator to process. Finally, the first elder spoke. "For 10 cycles we have maintained distance from humans after the poisoning incident. We believed your kind too different. Too dangerous for close relations, but perhaps we were wrong. The elder turned to Kira, who stood tall despite her exhaustion. The barrier flaw must be repaired immediately, and this human must be honored as tradition. Demands. Kira nodded her agreement already. Planning how to strengthen the settlement's defenses. A formal ceremony to recognize Lisa as Zakarath would need to be arranged, something no human had ever experienced. The council is dismissed. The first elder announced, but Lisa Morgan of Earth will remain with us until the honoring ceremony. She is to be given all privileges of a Veldrian protector. Lisa found herself escorted to guest quarters within the Veldrian settlement. The room was designed for visiting dignitaries from other colonies, not for humans. The sleeping platform was too large and the ceiling too high, but Lisa was too fascinated. Takara, a young Veldrian attendant, showed her how to operate the environmental controls and brought her a communication device modified to work with human vocal patterns rather than skin displays. The attendant watched Lisa with obvious curiosity, her skin flashing patterns that the translator rendered as respectful awe. Is there anything else you require? Zakarath, the attendant, asked, using the title that Lisa was still trying to understand. Just some water, and maybe an explanation of what exactly. Zakarath means, Lisa replied. The translation seems incomplete. The attendant tilted her head in the Veldrian gesture of consideration. In our oldest language, it means one who returns life. But it is more. It is a bond deeper than friendship. It means you are now connected to Mila and to leader Kira by something stronger than blood. You are family now chosen by fate and sacrifice. Lisa sat on the edge of the too large sleeping platform. That sounds like a big responsibility. It is the highest honor among our people. The attendant moved toward the door. Her skin flashed patterns too quick for the translator to catch. I will return with water and food suitable for humans. The Earth delegation provided our kitchens with appropriate recipes after the incident. After the attendant left, Lisa activated her personal communicator to contact her research base. The message was brief, explaining that she had found a lost Veldrian child and was being kept as an honored guest for a ceremony. She requested that her research supervisor Kelly extend her field permission for another cycle, approximately 3 Earth days. The response came quickly. Proceed with caution. Field permission extended. Lisa could almost hear Kelly's excitement through the text. Stay alert record. Everything. This is unprecedented access. Lisa put away her communicator and moved to the window. The Veldrian settlement spread below her. The structures were a blend of native stone and imported Earth technologies, a physical representation of the tentative alliance between their species. She could see Veldrians moving through the pathways, their skin displaying casual conversations in flashes of color. A soft chime announced the return of the attendant, who brought not only water and food but also Kira and Mila. Lisa smiled at the sight of the child, who immediately bounded across the room and climbed up her leg with surprising agility. She has been asking for you. Kira explained, her skin patterns showing warmth. Beneath the formal exterior, she has formed an attachment. It is unusual. Veldrian children normally bond only with blood relatives. Lisa gently patted Mila's head, unsure of the appropriate way to show affection to a Veldrian child. She seems special, more than you know, Kira replied. She moved further into the room, dismissing the attendant with a gesture. Mila is what we call a pathfinder, a child born with exceptional spatial awareness and problem-solving abilities. They are rare among our people and highly valued. She moved to the window. They often become our greatest explorers and scientists. Their minds work differently, seeing patterns where others see only chaos. Mila climbed higher, settling on Lisa's shoulder. Her skin displayed rippling patterns of blue and gold that made Lisa think of laughter. She found the flaw in our barrier, Kira continued. Something our engineers missed. She is only in her second growth phase, yet she understood the frequency patterns. This is why losing her was so devastating. Not only as my child, but as a future leader of our people. Lisa felt the weight of this information rest on her shoulders, along with the small alien child. She had stumbled into something far more significant than a simple rescue. The honoring ceremony will take place tomorrow, Kira said, turning back to face Lisa. It is tradition I would prepare you for what to expect. The ceremony was unlike anything Lisa had experienced. The entire settlement gathered in a natural amphitheater, carved from crystal. The structure amplified sound in unexpected ways, creating harmonics that Lisa could feel in her bones. Kira stood in ceremonial robes with Mila beside her. The child had been dressed in formal attire that accentuated her color, displays making them more vivid against the dark fabric. Lisa wore her Earth Science Division uniform, the only formal clothing she had brought on her research mission. The first elder led the ceremony, speaking in the native Veldrian language, which created patterns of light across his skin that the translator struggled to fully capture. The essence was clear. Though Lisa had done something extraordinary by their standards, she had shown courage, selflessness, and wisdom. 3 virtues the Veldrians held sacred. Lisa was presented with a crystal pendant, carved from the same material as the council chamber. It hung on a chain made from an alloy that shifted colors in response to her body temperature, mimicking in a small way the Veldrian communication style. This marks you as Zakirath, the first elder explained. This marks you as family to leader, Kira and child Mila, and friend to all Veldrians. You may travel freely among our settlements. You may speak in our councils. Your voice will carry the weight of a Veldrian. Elder Lisa accepted the pendant with shaking hands. The implications were enormous. No human had ever been given such access or status among the notoriously private Veldrians. Her simple act of helping a lost child had somehow bridged a diplomatic gap that formal negotiations had failed to cross. "Thank you," she said, aware that the words were inadequate. "I will honor this trust." The ceremony concluded with a communal meal. The Veldrians made special accommodations for Lisa's human biology, serving her foods that had been tested for compatibility with Earth digestive systems. Mila refused to leave Lisa's side throughout the meal, her skin constantly displaying patterns of attachment and happiness. After the meal, Kira approached Lisa again, this time without the formality of their previous interactions. "There is something else we must discuss," she said, her voice low. "The council has asked me to offer you a position here, a permanent one as cultural liaison between our peoples and special guardian to Mila." Her skin displayed patterns of hope and uncertainty. "You would be the first human to live among us, not as a visitor, but as one of our own." Lisa stared at Kira, trying to process the offer. It would mean leaving her research team, possibly her career path, but the opportunity was unprecedented. "I need time to consider this," Lisa said finally. "This is more than I expected when I found Mila in that cave." "Of course," Kira replied. "You have 3 days to decide. That is how long the ceremonial period of Zakirath integration lasts." She placed one of her 4 hands on Lisa's shoulder. "But know that Mila has already decided she wants you to stay." That night, Lisa contacted her research supervisor again, explaining the unexpected offer. Kelly's response was immediate and enthusiastic. "This is the breakthrough we've been waiting for. Take the position. The research station will fully support this transfer. Formal approval from Earth Diplomatic Corps already requested." Lisa sat on the window ledge of her quarters, looking out at the alien landscape. The moons of Veldria created complex shadows across the crystal formations in the distance. She held the pendant in her hand, watching it shift colors with her body heat. Something about this felt right in a way her research never had. Mila had slipped away from her caregivers and found her way to Lisa's quarters. The child sat beside her, now watching the moons with her upper eyes while her lower eyes remained fixed on Lisa. Her skin displayed patterns of contentment and curiosity. "You knew I would find you in that cave, didn't you?" Lisa asked, not expecting a response, to her surprise. Mila's skin flashed in patterns that the translator rendered as yes. "Saw you in dreams. Knew you would come." Lisa stared at the child. "Can you understand everything I say?" Mila nodded her head in the human gesture she must have learned from observation. Her skin displayed patterns too complex for the translator. More than words, colors. Deeper. Lisa felt a chill run through her. This wasn't just about finding a lost child or diplomatic opportunities. There was something more happening. something she didn't fully understand. But looking at the small alien child beside her, she knew her decision was already made. The next morning, she would tell Kira she would accept the position. She would stay on Veldria as cultural liaison and guardian to Mila. She would step into a role no human had ever held before, and perhaps in doing so, she would discover why a Veldrian child had dreamed of her before they ever met. 3 months passed since Lisa accepted her position in the Veldrian settlement. She had adapted to life among the aliens better than anyone from Earth expected. Her quarters had been modified to accommodate human needs, and she had learned to read basic Veldrian skin patterns without relying entirely on the translator. Each day brought new discoveries, both cultural and scientific. Lisa documented everything, sending regular reports back to the Earth Science Division, her unique position granted insights no other human had accessed before. Most importantly, her bond with Mila grew stronger. The child was extraordinarily intelligent even by Veldrian standards. She absorbed knowledge with remarkable speed, learning human expressions and gestures. While teaching Lisa the subtleties of Veldrian communication, Mila was now entering her third growth phase, her physical form becoming more defined and her color patterns more complex. Kira had appointed Lisa to the Council of Education, where she helped develop a program to teach young Veldrians about human culture and biology. This was unprecedented, as Veldrians had always kept their children isolated from outside influence. But Kira believed that understanding humans from an early age would strengthen future relations between their species. The diplomatic incident that had strained relations before Lisa's arrival faded from immediate concern. Though no formal apology had been issued from either side, the presence of a human Zakirath in the settlement created a new foundation for cooperation. Not everyone welcomed this change. Lisa occasionally noticed skin patterns of disapproval from some of the elders, particularly those who had lost family members during the early contact period when misunderstandings led to accidents, but these were minority views. The majority of Veldrians treated Lisa with respect, if not warmth. One morning, Lisa awoke to find Mila sitting beside her bed. The child rarely used the door, preferring to find creative ways into rooms, a habit that both amused and concerned Lisa. "Wake up," Mila said in careful human speech. Her vocal apparatus wasn't designed for Earth languages, but she had practiced diligently. Her skin displayed urgency and excitement. Lisa sat up immediately. "What is it?" "Something coming," Mila replied. Her upper eyes focused on the ceiling, while her lower eyes watched. Lisa, mother not listening. Lisa had learned to take Mila's warnings seriously. The child had an uncanny ability to sense things before they happened. Her dreams often contained elements of future events, though fragmented and symbolic. "What kind of something?" Lisa asked, already reaching for her uniform. Mila displayed a complex pattern that the translator struggled with, before rendering it as sky-falling metal birds. "Not ours, not yours." "Others," Lisa frowned. The settlement had sophisticated scanning technology that monitored the system for approaching vessels. Could Mila sense something the technology missed? "Let's go. Talk to your mother," Lisa said, taking the child's hand and heading for the door. They found Kira in the communication center, reviewing reports from other Veldrian colonies. Her skin displayed patterns of concentration and mild stress. When she saw Lisa and Mila, her patterns shifted to welcome, then concern as she noted their expressions. "Mila has something to tell you," Lisa said. Kira knelt to her child's level, all forearms extended in the Veldrian gesture of attentive listening. Mila displayed rapid patterns explaining her vision or whatever it was that she had experienced. Kira watched intently, occasionally asking questions through her own skin displays. Finally, she stood, turning to the Veldrian technicians at the monitoring stations. "Increase sensitivity on all scanning arrays. Focus on the outer system, particularly the asteroid belt." Lisa watched as the technicians adjusted their equipment. Their skin displayed skepticism, but they obeyed without question. "Do you believe her?" Lisa asked, keeping her voice low. Kira looked at her daughter, who was now examining the control panels with apparent fascination. "Pathfinders have abilities we don't fully understand. She has never been wrong about such things. Before she disappeared, she spoke of crystal caves and a human with kind hands. Her upper eyes focused on Lisa. I did not listen. Then I will listen. Now. The scanning array remained quiet for nearly 2 hours. Kira was called away to other matters, but Lisa stayed with Mila in the communication center. The child seemed content to watch the monitors occasionally displaying patterns too complex for the translator. Then suddenly an alert sounded. A technician called out in the Veldrian language, his skin flashing urgent patterns. 3 vessels approaching from behind the fourth moon. Their configuration is unfamiliar. Kira returned immediately, her skin displaying patterns of command and focus. Order defense protocols. Notify the council. The technician hesitated. They are broadcasting a message on all frequencies. Put it through. Kira ordered. The communication system crackled before a voice filled the chamber. Speaking in heavily accented Veldrian, it said, "We are the Narak Trade Collective. We seek peaceful exchange with the Veldrian colony. We have goods and knowledge to offer." Lisa watched Kira carefully. The leader remained still, her skin patterns unreadable to Lisa's still developing ability to interpret them. Without the translator, she couldn't be certain what Kira was thinking. "Respond," Kira finally said. "This is colony leader, Kira of the Veldrian settlement. You are in restricted space. Identify your species and purpose." There was a pause before the response came. "We are the Narak, a spacefaring collective. We have observed your settlement. From a distance, we wish to establish trade relations. We have technologies that may interest both Veldrians and your human allies." Kira turned to Lisa. Her skin displayed patterns of caution and curiosity. "No other alien species has approached us. Since we established this colony, how did Mila know?" Lisa looked at the child who was now displaying patterns of satisfaction. "She seems to have some ability to sense things beyond our understanding." "The council must be convened." Kira decided. "Send the Naraka coordinates for a meeting point away from the settlement. We will hear their proposal, but with caution." She turned to Lisa. "You should be present. Your human perspective may be valuable." The meeting was arranged for the following day at a neutral location 10 miles from the settlement. A small delegation including Kira, 3 council members, Lisa, and surprisingly, Mila would meet with the Narak representatives. The Earth Science Division was notified but advised to maintain distance until the nature of the contact was established. That night, Lisa sat with Mila in the observatory, a crystal dome that provided clear views of the night sky. The child pointed to a faint light moving among the stars. Then she said simply, her skin displayed complex patterns that suggested both curiosity and unease. "Are they dangerous?" Lisa asked. Mila considered this, her patterns shifting through several emotions before settling on uncertainty. "Not now. Maybe later. Bring change. Always change." Lisa had grown, accustomed to Mila's cryptic statements, but this one troubled her. The child sensed something significant about these visitors, something that went beyond simple trade negotiations. The Narak vessel that landed at the designated meeting point was smaller than Lisa expected, roughly the size of an Earth shuttle. It had a sleek design with multiple articulation points suggesting it could reconfigure for different environments. 3 figures emerged. They stood upright on 2 legs like humans, but the resemblance ended there. Their bodies were covered in what appeared to be a metallic exoskeleton, with multiple thin appendages extending from their torsos. Their heads were elongated with compound eyes, similar to Earth insects, but larger and more expressive. They wore no apparent clothing or protective gear, greeting to the Veldrian people and their human ally. The lead Narak said in that same accented Veldrian, "I am trade negotiator, Sarak of the Narak Collective." Kira stepped forward, maintaining formal posture. "I am colony leader Kira. This is our council and our human liaison, Lisa Morgan." She did not introduce Mila, keeping the child partially hidden behind her robes. The Narak focused their compound eyes on Lisa for a moment, before returning attention to Kira. "You are the first dual-species settlement we have encountered in this sector. This suggests profitable opportunities. We did not come here to discuss profit. Kira stated, her skin displaying caution beneath her formal exterior. We wish to know how you found us and what you seek. The Narak made a gesture with their thin appendages. We have been mapping this sector for trade routes. We detected your energy signatures and communication patterns. Lisa noticed that the Narak seemed to avoid direct answers. Trade negotiator Sarak moved closer. We offer advanced propulsion technology, medical techniques, and rare elements. We seek only cultural exchange and navigation rights through your territory. One of the council members displayed patterns of interest. Kira remained neutral, her skin carefully controlled. Lisa recognized this as the diplomatic mask Kira wore during difficult negotiations. What do you know of humans? The leader asked suddenly. The Narak hesitated. We have encountered their outposts at the edges of this sector. They are aggressive expansionists but technologically interesting. Lisa felt a chill. The Earth Science Division had no record of contact with any species called the Narak. There were no human outposts in the sectors the Narak described. Something wasn't right. Before anyone could respond, Mila stepped forward from behind Kira's robes. Her skin displayed a pattern Lisa had never seen before. The translator remained silent, unable to interpret the display. The Narak stepped back, their compound eyes fixed on the child. Their appendages moved in agitated patterns. In the days following the Narak encounter, the settlement transformed. Lisa watched as hidden defense systems activated and additional guards appeared at key locations. The peaceful research outpost now resembled a military installation. Earth had responded to the Veldrian alert by sending a small diplomatic vessel equipped with advanced scanning technology. The human delegation included several military advisors, though they maintained the pretense of scientific support. Lisa found herself caught between worlds. Her loyalty to Earth remained strong, but her bond with Kira and Mila had grown into something deeper than professional obligation. She attended council meetings providing insight on human perspectives, while also joining the Earth delegation briefings. Most concerning was the change in Mila. The child had become withdrawn, her skin patterns muted and difficult to read. She spent hours in the observatory watching the stars, particularly the distant point of light where the Narak vessel hovered at the system edge. You need to talk to her, Kira told Lisa one evening after another day of fruitless council debates about the Narak intentions. She responds to you differently. Her skin displayed patterns of maternal concern. Lisa found Mila in the observatory as expected. The child sat motionless, her gaze fixed on the stars. Her skin displayed subtle patterns that shifted too quickly for the translator to capture. May I join you? Lisa asked. Mila nodded without turning. The gesture was human, learned from Lisa over their months together. Lisa sat beside the child, saying nothing for several minutes, allowing the comfortable silence they often shared to settle between them. Finally, she asked, What did you see in them, Mila? What truth did you show them? Mila's patterns shifted to something the translator rendered as sadness with threads of fear. They are not what they appear. Can you explain? Lisa prompted gently. The child turned, her four eyes now focusing directly on Lisa. They wear false skins, metal coverings, hide true nature. She struggled with concepts difficult to express. They watch many worlds, take what they need, leave emptiness. Lisa felt a chill. Are they dangerous? Mila displayed complex patterns that suggested uncertainty, not like fighting, not like weapons. She pointed to her head. Different danger. Here in thoughts, are they planning to attack us? Mila shook her head, a human gesture she had adopted, not attack study test. Separate. Lisa frowned, trying to understand. Separate. Humila touched Lisa, then pointed to herself, then to the direction of Kira's quarters. Yumi, mother. All separate, all alone. That is their weapon. Mistrust. Lisa began to understand. The Narak threat wasn't military. It was psychological. They somehow created division between allies. Her mind raced through the possibilities, some form of psychological warfare. Perhaps they had technology that influenced thoughts or emotions. the mistrust already growing between the Earth delegation and the Veldrian. Council could be their first success. We need to tell your mother, Lisa said, standing. Mila displayed resignation. They will not listen. Not yet. Need proof. The child was right. Lisa realized. The Council and Earth delegation were already looking for threats, in the wrong places. Weapons, energy signatures, fleet movements. No one was considering psychological manipulation. She needed evidence, something concrete to present to both human and Veldrian authorities. But how could she prove something so intangible? The answer came from an unexpected source. Kelly, her former research supervisor, contacted her via secure channel. Lisa, we need to talk privately. Kelly looked tense, her usual scientific enthusiasm replaced by grim determination. What's happened? Lisa asked. We've detected unusual energy patterns from the Narrak vessel. Subtle wavelengths directed at the settlement, nothing harmful by standard measures. But Kelly hesitated. We're seeing effects. Increased aggression among the Earth delegation. Paranoid thinking. Even hallucinations in 2 cases. This matched what Mila had suggested. The Narrak were somehow influencing minds, creating separation and mistrust. Have you told the Veldrian Council? Lisa asked. That's just it, Kelly replied. The military advisors don't want to share this. They believe it's a Veldrian trick. Some kind of psychic attack. They're preparing countermeasures. Lisa felt cold dread settle in her stomach. The very division Mila had warned about was happening. Tell them you're wrong, she said, urgently. The Narrak are causing this. The Veldrians are experiencing the same thing. Kelly looked skeptical. How can you be sure? Mila told me, Lisa said before realizing how that would sound to a scientist. Kelly's expression hardened. The colony leaders. Child, you're basing this on what a Veldrian child told you. Listen to yourself, Lisa. You've been compromised. Lisa fought growing frustration. I know how it sounds, but she's special. A pathfinder. She senses things. Kelly shook her head. We need you to return to the Earth vessel. Immediately. For your own safety, Lisa ended the transmission knowing she had failed to convince her former mentor the division was growing stronger. She needed to act quickly before the situation deteriorated further. She found Kira in the communication center reviewing defense protocols. The leader's skin displayed patterns of stress and fatigue. We need to talk, Lisa said urgently. Somewhere private. Kira's quarters were secure against surveillance. The leader dismissed her, attendants leaving only Lisa and herself in the room. The Narrak are using some kind of psychological weapon, Lisa explained. They're projecting energy that affects minds, creates paranoia, division, mistrust. The Earth delegation is experiencing it. They think you're responsible. Kira's skin displayed skepticism. How do you know this? Mila told me, Lisa admitted. And Earth scientists have detected unusual energy patterns from the Narrak vessel. Kira moved to the window looking toward the observatory where Mila spent her time. The Earth delegates request weapons access, she said, her voice uncharacteristically hard. They claim for protection. Her skin displayed patterns of suspicion. They believe we threaten them. It's happening to both sides. Lisa insisted. This is what the Narrak want, to turn us against each other. We need to block the signal. Find a way to shield both humans and Veldrians. Kira turned back her skin, now displaying consideration. The crystal caves, she said suddenly. Where you found Mila. They have unique properties. That is why we selected this location. The crystals naturally shield certain energy frequencies. Lisa felt hope rise. Could we use them to create some kind of protection? Mila might know, Kira said. She was drawn to those caves. Her skin displayed new patterns of realization. She may have been hiding there not just from us, but from them. From their influence. The implications were staggering. Mila had somehow sensed the Narrak presence before anyone else. Her disappearance may have been instinctive self-preservation. We need to get her, Lisa said. The Earth delegation plans to bring me back to their vessel forcibly if necessary. They think I've been compromised. Kira's skin flashed alarm. Is this true? I won't go, Lisa assured. But we need to move quickly. The situation is deteriorating. They found Mila already waiting for them at the private entrance to Kira's quarters. The child displayed patterns of determination. Her upper eyes focused on Lisa, while her lower eyes watched Kira. You understand now, she said simply. Know what comes. Kira gathered her child in all four arms. Her skin displayed maternal protection, mixed with newfound respect. Tell us what we must do. Mila pointed to the eastern horizon where the crystal caves lay beyond the settlement barriers. The crystals can be shaped. She explained, her patterns becoming more complex than the translator could fully capture. Need many. Made small worn clothes. Lisa understood. They needed to create personal shields from the crystal material, enough to protect key individuals from the Narak influence. How much time do we have? She asked. Mila's skin displayed urgency. 3 cycles of the blue sun. Before they come. Not just one ship. Many. Kira immediately activated her communication device, summoning her most trusted council members and security personnel. The extraction team would leave immediately for the crystal caves, under the pretense of scientific research. Lisa would accompany them along with Mila, whose knowledge of the caves proved essential. As they prepared to depart, Kira received an urgent message from the Earth vessel, demanding Lisa's immediate return, claiming she had been mentally compromised by Veldrian influence. The leader ignored it, focusing instead on the mission ahead. The journey to the caves required passing through the settlement barrier. The same flaw Mila had discovered remained, but was now monitored. A security team escorted them through, manually disrupting the frequency at a controlled point. Lisa recognized the path she had followed months earlier, tracking Mila through the rugged terrain. The landscape seemed different now, the beauty of the crystal formations overshadowed by their urgent mission. The toxic gases that made the caves dangerous to humans were mitigated by breathing equipment provided by the Veldrian science team. Inside the main cavern, Mila led them unerringly to a chamber Lisa had never discovered during her search. The crystals here hummed with subtle energy, vibrating at frequencies just beyond human hearing, but apparently clear to Veldrians. Their skin displayed patterns of discomfort as they entered. These fight the bad songs, Mila explained, pointing to specific crystal formations. Her patterns suggested concepts the translator struggled with. Bad thoughts cannot live here. The Veldrian scientists began harvesting crystal samples following Mila's precise instructions. The child indicated specific formations, explaining through complex skin patterns which would be most effective. Lisa watched in amazement as Mila directed adults with authority and confidence far beyond her years. The observation center hummed with activity as both Veldrian technicians and Earth scientists monitored the approaching Narak vessels. The crystals had been distributed to all essential personnel, creating an unexpected alliance where hours before there had been growing hostility. 4 Narak ships now orbited the planet. They maintained formation outside weapons range, but made no further communication attempts. Why haven't they attacked? Commander Foster asked, studying the tactical display. If they intended invasion. They have sufficient numbers. Lisa watched Mila, who stood beside the main viewing screen. The child displayed complex patterns suggesting intense concentration. They did attack. Lisa said, they tried to turn us against each other, create conflict between humans and Veldrians. She looked at Foster. Their weapons are subtle, psychological, manipulative. If we had fought among ourselves, they could have simply walked in afterward and taken whatever they wanted. Kelly approached, holding scanning equipment. Her expression was troubled. We're detecting massive energy emissions from the Narak fleet. The same patterns as before, but stronger, more focused. They're intensifying the attack, yet we feel nothing. Kira observed, touching the crystal pendant at her neck. Our minds remain clear. Mila suddenly displayed patterns of alarm. Her upper eyes widened. The translator rendered her patterns as trying new song, deeper, stronger, as if on cue. Alarms sounded throughout the center. A technician called out settlement perimeter breach. Multiple locations, security feeds showed chaos erupting in the outer sectors of the settlement. Veldrians without crystal protection were displaying erratic behavior. Their skin patterns showed extreme agitation and fear. Some fought with each other while others fled toward the wilderness beyond the barrier. The unprotected humans from the Earth vessel were similarly affected. Several had collapsed while others exhibited signs of extreme paranoia, attacking Veldrian allies or barricading themselves in secured areas. "We don't have enough crystals," Lisa realized watching the scenes of confusion. "They're affecting everyone without protection." Foster immediately activated her communication device. "We need to get our people back to the ship." She looked at Kira. "Can your barrier shield them?" The barrier was designed to keep things out. "Not in Kira," replied her skin displaying patterns of strategic thinking. "We need to extend the crystal effect. Create a larger field." Mila tugged at Lisa's sleeve, her skin displaying an idea that the translator struggled with crystals sing together. "Stronger. Make big song." Lisa turned to Kelly. "Do you understand what she's suggesting?" Kelly nodded thoughtfully. "The crystals emit counter frequencies to the Nurak signals. If we could amplify that, create a broadcast using the settlement communication array." The Veldrian communication specialist joined them. "It could work. We could use the settlement transmitters to amplify and broadcast the crystal frequency. But we'd need a stronger source than these small pendants." All eyes turned to Mila, who displayed patterns of certainty. "The big crystal," she indicated. "Where the elders meet. The council chamber." Lisa realized the entire room was carved from the same crystal material that formed their protective pendants. Kira immediately began issuing orders. Her skin displayed patterns of command and focus. A team would reconfigure the communication array while security personnel gathered. The affected population as close to the council chamber as possible. They would use the chamber itself as a massive broadcasting source. Lisa knelt beside Mila. The child displayed patterns of exhaustion but also determination. "You knew this would happen, didn't you? That's why you led me to the caves months ago." Mila's patterns shifted to something the translator rendered as saw pieces, not whole picture. Her upper eyes focused on Lisa. "Knew you would help." They worked through the night. The combined expertise of Veldrian engineers and Earth scientists created an improvised broadcasting system. The council chamber crystal was wired with sensors designed to amplify its natural frequency. The communications array was reconfigured to transmit this frequency throughout the settlement and to the Earth vessel by morning. Nearly all unprotected personnel had been gathered in and around the central administrative complex where the council chamber was located. Those too affected to move were brought by security teams wearing crystal protection. The scenes of conflict and confusion had stabilized, but the Narak ships continued their orbital position, their energy weapons still directed at the settlement. "We are ready to activate," Kira announced. The Earth scientists and Veldrian engineers stood by their improvised equipment. The chamber crystal glowed with internal energy, responding to the attached sensors. Before Kira could give the order, Mila stepped forward, approaching the massive crystal formation that formed the council table. Her skin displayed patterns too complex for the translator, indicating concepts beyond simple language. She placed all four of her small hands on the crystal surface. Its glow intensified, responding to her touch. Lisa watched in amazement as energy patterns formed within the crystal, matching the patterns on Mila's skin. The chamber filled with a resonant hum that Lisa felt in her bones. Kelly checked her instruments. "The frequency is amplifying," she said. With wonder, it's harmonizing with the smaller crystals. "We're getting a cascading effect," the communication technician confirmed. "The signal is broadcasting settlement-wide." All sectors' reports came in quickly. The affected Veldrians and humans were recovering, their erratic behavior subsiding as the crystal frequency reached them. The Nurak influence was being neutralized throughout the settlement. Lisa watched the monitors showing the Nurak vessels. Their position remained unchanged, but energy readings fluctuated. "Something's happening," Kelly said. "Their output is changing, becoming erratic on." The main screen, the largest Narak vessel, suddenly changed configuration. Its sleek exterior began to shift sections, moving independently as if struggling against each other. The other vessels showed similar distortion. The communication system activated. An incoming transmission from the Narak fleet. The voice that came through was distorted, filled with electronic interference. Stop the broadcast. The transmission demanded, "You do not understand what you are interfering with." Kira stepped forward, addressing the transmission. "This is Colony Leader Kira. Your attack on our settlement has failed. Leave our system immediately." There was a pause before the response came. "This is not an attack, this is salvation." The voice shifted, becoming more desperate. "We offer protection. The others come, the devourers of worlds. We prepare species to resist." Lisa exchanged confused glances with Foster and Kelly. The message didn't match their understanding of the Narak threat. "What others?" Kira demanded. "What protection are you offering?" Another pause, longer this time. "The crystal frequency disrupts our unity. We cannot maintain coherence." The Narak voice was breaking up. "Our collective requires harmony to function. You are destroying us and dooming yourselves." The transmission ended abruptly. On the view screen, the Narak vessels began to move erratically, their formations breaking as they drifted apart. Kelly checked her instruments. Their energy signatures are collapsing. Some kind of internal system failure. The largest vessel suddenly accelerated, moving away from the planet. The others followed in disorganized pursuit. Their movements suggested confusion rather than coordinated. "Retreat, they are leaving," Kira observed, her skin displaying cautious relief. Foster shook her head. "Something doesn't add up. Why warn us about others?" Their final message suggested they were trying to help us in some twisted way. Lisa looked at Mila. The child displayed patterns of deep thought. Her skin shifted through complex emotions before settling on a pattern the translator rendered as, "Partial truth lies together." "What does that mean?" Lisa asked. Mila approached the main screen where the retreating Narak vessels were still visible. "They prepare." She explained, her patterns becoming clearer. "Change minds, make ready, not for help. For taking." Kelly nodded thoughtfully, beginning to understand. "They weren't protecting us. They were conditioning us. Preparing our minds for something for themselves," Foster concluded. "Their psychological weapons weren't just creating conflict. They were reshaping how we think." Mila confirmed this with patterns of agreement. Change thoughts. Change people, make empty for filling. Chill ran through Lisa as she grasped the implication. The Narak weren't preparing them to resist some other threat. They were preparing them for some kind of mental colonization, emptying their minds to be filled with something else. But why warn us about others before they fled? Kira asked. Mila displayed uncertainty. Broken pieces, lost control. Said truth with lies. The broadcast is affecting them. Lisa realized if their consciousness is collective, somehow connected, then our crystal frequency is disrupting their unity. Their thoughts are fragmenting, becoming individual instead of collective. The crystal chamber continued to pulse with energy, the broadcast strengthening as Veldrian engineers refined the transmission. The settlement was fully protected now, every sector shielded from Narak influence. The affected personnel had recovered with no lasting damage beyond confusion and disorientation. In the days that followed, the Narak vessels disappeared from sensor range, moving beyond the system boundary. Earth sent additional ships to bolster settlement security, while scientists studied the crystal technology that had saved them. The diplomatic tensions between humans and Veldrians dissolved, replaced by stronger cooperation and mutual respect.